Hi, I'm Leon Threatt, and I'm seeking to serve as the next congressional representative here in the newly drawn 12th District. It is my great delight to be a resident, long-standing resident here in Mecklenburg County. 30 years I've served and labored and lived in Mecklenburg County. And I've had the great privilege of serving our nation as a U.S. Marine, active duty for 10 years, 8.5 years as a Charlotte-Mecklenburg police officer. And for the last 28 years, I've had the privilege of serving as a senior pastor in our great community. I look forward to serving the good people of the communities of Pineville, Davison, Cornelius, Huntersville, and certainly the areas like Steel Creek and the inner city of Charlotte and the university area. And I believe we need that kind of representative who can serve all of Mecklenburg County and certainly all of the good people of the 12th Congressional District. It is my great honor to continue to serve, and I look forward to having your vote on November the 8th. We need the kind of representative that can identify with the challenges and the success stories that we see here in our region and in our district. You see, for some, there's two Americas. There's two Mecklenburg counties, one of prosperity, one of inclusion, one of opportunity. But then there's another part of the Mecklenburg County where there is despair, frustration, and maybe hopelessness. We need leadership. We need representatives who can identify and begin to elevate and uplift all of those in the 12th Congressional District. I'm committed to that kind of journey, that kind of commitment to help people experience all that the American dream was intended for all of us to have. We need that kind of leadership now like never before. We must continue to be a community that promotes life, as I have said, from the womb to the tomb, that we elevate the importance of life. And that's from the preborn to the aged and to the mature. And also with that, I think it's important that we not forget all of those families and all those communities along the way. You know, one of the great joys that I've had in this journey as I seek to serve in Congress is I've met a lot of wonderful people, single parents, single mothers, who have real concerns about where things are for their children and where their education and related to all of those, and quality of care and quality of housing and all those things that matter to the family. And so it matters to me as the next elected congressman for the 12th District. It matters, and we need that kind of representation that's concerned and compassionate for all of those of the 12th, no matter what stage of life they may be in, that we do promote life and we promote family. We must continue to look for and seek after an economy that creates jobs, and better jobs. As the next representative of the 12th Congressional District, that's one of my commitments, is to help bring into our region, bring into the 12th Congressional District, jobs that give more than just minimum wage, but jobs that have a living wage and a promising future. We need those kind of jobs, those blue-collar jobs, those manufacturing jobs, those skilled labor jobs. I believe that that's what we need and that's what we can do. You know, I haven't given up on the American dream. I haven't given up on the American worker. I believe that America's greatest future is still in front of us if we will pursue it. One of the essential parts in that pursuit is certainly the quality of life that's given and granted when we have quality jobs. And we know that often that requires additional training, so that's where we foster partnerships with our schools and with our higher educations, that we train these new generations of workers that we would fit into the new opportunities set before us. So jobs, and better jobs is something I'm seeking after. As the next representative here in the 12th Congressional District, I'm committed to look for and seek after educational reform, the kind of educational reform that incentivizes parental responsibility and parental choice. Education is first and foremost the parent's responsibility and the parent's right. And we want to encourage that education that gives the parents the choices and the options they need to effectively and properly educate their children. Another very important area that I think I certainly do champion is finding the kind of resources and support for our historically black colleges and universities. Often they're left out of the bigger picture of our region. And I certainly want to continue to find ways to partner with those schools and partner with what they are doing. They are an essential part of our educational path, and they need continued representation. I'm confident I will be that kind and am that kind of leader. As we talk about educational reform, we must elevate the importance of our teachers. You know, it was teachers in my life, teachers and coaches, that were so instrumental in getting me through school. It was a couple of good teachers that were patient with me to help me to get through high school, and I think we've got to continue to honor and elevate the importance of good teachers. They are instrumental in the lives of our young people. And so teacher pay must continue to be a priority. I know that we have continued to make tremendous changes and adjustments, and I commend our state legislators for making the changes and bringing pay increases to our teachers. We need to continue to look for other ways to encourage and support the great role of teaching. Education is vital, not only to our families, but also to the future of our economy, all connected to our ability to effectively educate our children and the generations to come. Educational reform is critically important. As the next representative here in the 12th Congressional District, it certainly matters to me that we build a coalition, build a team of committed residents and citizens and engaged leaders to find answers to the over-criminalization of our society, the ever-growing recidivism rate we have here in the 12th Congressional District. You know, the 12th Congressional District has one of the highest incarceration rates of anywhere in the state. It has the Charlotte-Mecklenburg community houses more people than anywhere in the state other than the state prison. And so we've got to find answers, and that means bringing the right people to the table, looking for answers, working together, building a partnership that breaks the cycles that we've seen in high recidivism. With that, we've got to have a restorative approach, and that's going to take a lot of people working together to find answers. Well, certainly we know that that's going to require leadership to make that happen. You know, as a police officer for 8.5 years, I played a part in arresting and, yes, prosecuting criminals. But in all of those cases, I was committed to seeing these good people restored to our society. I had one story where a young man that was in the neighborhood that I was patrolling, and I was operating as a community police officer, arrested him on more than one occasion. And yet later on, when he was released, he visited my church. Ultimately, he joined my church and was one of my great involved members for a number of years. People can be restored. They can be restored to their family. They can be restored to our community. And so we need to find a way to make that a reality for more of our citizens. I think I bring that, my experience as a law enforcement officer, my commitment to this community. I think we can bring a team of people, a coalition of involved citizens, leaders, elected officials, to find answers for those in our community. So that's what I believe is important as we can break those cycles of over-criminalization and recidivism in our 12th district. You know, I'm really committed to seeing our Veterans Administration, our veterans themselves, cared for and recognized. They do give so much. Me being a former active duty Marine for 10 years, I know the sacrifices that so many of our veterans make. And there are a lot of wonderful organizations out there working daily to care for and provide services for our veterans. We know the North Carolina USO, as well as the Patriot Military Family Foundation, and certainly the Charlotte Bridge Home organization, working tirelessly to care for the veterans that have given so much. And as your next representative here in the 12th Congressional District, I will continue and plan and purpose to continue to partner with these great organizations to continue to meet the needs of those veterans. You know, I'm traumatized, and certainly most who would hear this, is that there are 22 suicides a day from our veterans community. And that's 22 too many. You know, just weeks ago, our city, the great city of Charlotte, was in a state of unrest. And one of the things we noticed that while people were marching the streets, protesting the loss of life, we could also see homeless people still in their places of rest. It was interesting. We met one young man that I actually knew, former Army for a number of years, and once was an employee at the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department. And I didn't recognize him originally, but when I saw him, and I said, "Hey, I know you." And we stood there and talked for a moment. And I asked, how's things going? And it troubled my heart because he said, "I'm living on the streets." He's a veteran. How many more of our young men and women are living on the streets? A very important part of our community is our first responders. You know, our police, our fire, and our medic. They play a very essential part in our community. They're the first line of defense for the difficulties that we see in our community, in our great city, in our region. And as a community, we are endlessly indebted to them for sacrificing so much. And they deserve, without question, our continued support, our respect, and our regard for what they give and do for all of us. I'm ready and willing to pull together all I can, all the partners in our great community to address these real issues for our veterans community. As your next congressional representative here in the 12th, national defense continues to be a major concern and an important issue to address. We must be the military that can handle and address our national security here and address our international interests abroad. With that responsibility comes the task of making sure that our military has everything they need to do what they've been called and appointed to do. And I'm committed to continuing to make sure that our military is the best, the most responsive, the most capable of all of the world, that they have the resources that they need. With that, we also must make sure that we're being good stewards over the people's money, the taxpayers' money. And therefore, we need leadership that's responsible and capable of adjusting and addressing the importance of staying within the boundaries of what should be when it comes to being a good steward over the people's money. We must continue to ensure that America is a safe place. We've had a number of attacks on the homeland here by those who hate us. And so we must be able to address those issues. So a strong, capable military to address those things are critically important. And that's the kind of representative I want to be, the one that's ensuring the safety of our homeland, but making sure we're doing it in a responsible, prudent, and efficient way. One of the sure responsibilities of the House of Representatives is to control government spending. It's one of the tasks is to ensure that the budget is addressed, funds are allocated from the House of Representatives. And yet we're $20 trillion in debt, and it's ever growing every day. I believe that often we're expecting more from programs that are overextended, where we can continue to find ways of partnering with those entities, those organizations, those charitable groups that are in our community that give so much to the well-being of our 12th congressional district. And I want to continue to partner and find ways to leverage those relationships that we truly address the issues that are taking place in our nation without stretching that $20 trillion even further. We need answers. We need leadership that can help foster those kind of partnerships to address real needs, but also address the ever-growing debt that we face as a nation. Recently, we had a police shooting here in our great city, Charlotte-Mecklenburg. And from that, there was a number of players who rushed to conclusions way too soon. We witnessed the community moving too soon, and even much of the media moved too soon to the conclusions, without the process being played out to the betterment of all of us here in our great 12th district. From there, we saw the inciting of violence from those on the streets. From that inciting and stoking of violence from a number of players, another young man. We see that Justin Carr happened to be there, an innocent bystander. Some say he was on his way to work, became the victim of another tragic shooting. This is a reminder to us that there is a process And we must maintain a genuine respect for law and order, the process, and a respect for one another. That's what I believe we need to be bringing back to our society. We need that kind of representative here in the 12th Congressional District. Thank you for your time. And I do ask that you would thoughtfully and prayerfully consider me for the U.S. House of Representatives, North Carolina District 12. Your vote matters greatly to America and certainly matters to those of us of North Carolina. Thank you.